Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this Friday edition of the XD Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Jesse Showalter. Let me know where you're coming from in the chat on this fine Friday. What are you doing this weekend? I got some plans. Trying to recover from being sick. Gonna sleep a little bit and do some fun stuff. But we're also gonna do some design today on today's XD Challenge. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We got Wade Acuff who's moderating today, but we also got Misha in the chat at Kasoon. If you're watching this over on YouTube, come over to Behance. That's where the action is. You know where else the action is? Over here on the Discord server, the Adobe XD Discord server with thousands upon thousands of creatives, mentors. You get feedback, find community, all here in a friendly Adobe XD community on Discord. So all you gotta do is, sign up for the Discord server. That's a lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun, let's take a look at our starting file today. We are doing today's challenge is 5 of 5. We're ending our week strong, and we're gonna be doing a little bit of an outfit planner, a little bit of a fashion app. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Kasoon says hello. Everybody's saying hello. Wade Acuff says hello, Jesse. All in caps. I love when people write in caps. Also, I love when people put emojis in the chat. So let me know as we get started. Hey, we got some inspiration down here for you and the resource booklet for you so you can get going. And I'm just going to get going right now. I think a fashion app really, because I have this really great just trendy shot that I got off of Adobe stock, just of a bunch of really happy people, cool people, and maybe it's less about fashion and more about people just vibing with cool lights and photography. We're gonna call it fashion today. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna create kind of like a lookbook, a summer end lookbook, and I think when you do that, I think you got to go dark. So I'm going to hit the canvas. I'm going to hit I for my little color picker, and I'm going to go with like kind of a dark interface. This is not pure black. This is almost pure black. Let's bring it down a little bit more, shall we? Pure black is very rarely the right thing to do. Off black is almost always the right thing to do. And I have this idea, this fun idea for really what we're going to be doing is building a really cool interaction today where you can drag and swipe in between selections. And then you should be able to, when you bring a selection into view, I want it to actually kind of like pop up and give you some details. And when I tap on that, let's see if we can do this last part without getting cut off the stream because we're running out of time. But that last part should be that when you select, that it actually drops down to a little, I don't know, like a little chiclet like tab area where we hide our or save our selections. I'm going to grab our image and I'm just going to duplicate one. I just literally held down Option and drug a new version of it up. I'm going to hit R for rectangle, and I'm going to start with this gal right here. And I'm going to draw my rectangle there. I'm going to round those edges a little bit. I'll take the border off, not that it really matters, because what I'm trying to do is grab the rectangle and the image. I'm going to right click and I'm just going to hit mask with shape. That's also Command Shift M or Control Shift M for you PC users out there. Okay, we have a fun little mask right here. And what's really cool is if you just mask a massive image like this, later on if I want to use a different image, whoop, I just slide it over. Looky there. That's kind of cool, huh? So yeah, we're gonna just grab inside of our mask group. I'm gonna grab the rectangle. That's the actual mask there. I'm just gonna slim this down a little bit so we have more of like this tall rectangle thing going on. So far, so good. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring the size of this up, and I might just shear the sides off of this thing a little bit more. I know we're kind of losing a lot of the fun of our model, but this is kind of what I'm looking for. Something like this. Okay, I'm going to center it there in the middle. And then, you can imagine like we'll have one off canvas like so, and maybe it'll actually be like down a little bit, like, and then obviously we'll have like the next photo in there. And we'll have like another one over here with another really cool photo in it. Okay. And I know you're like, I'm getting seasick from all of this coolness, but don't worry, be happy. That's the old song from the 80s. And these images look like they're from the 80s. Okay, so this is, for me, this is already starting to look kind of colorful and fun. I know Misha says that's a lot of happy people. I tell you what I like on a Friday, happy people. I'm just gonna move myself over a little bit. All right, so let's talk really quickly about what we want to do here, because we are going to need some text on each of these. So why don't we zoom in a little bit and let's get a little bit of She's so funny. I love her vibe. She just has such a happy, fun, kind of cool vibe. And I'm just going to move her down a little bit so she's all the way in. I'm going to hit T for text. I'm going to pop some text here. I'm going to say white tank. Okay. That's what the kids on the street call a tank top. We call it a tank. I just said kids on the street. Wow, that was the worst thing ever. Okay, so I'm gonna hit white tank right there. I'm gonna line that up kind of in the middle. Great, and then we're using Poppins medium. Let's jump it up to semi-bold, and it looks like we have a little bit of character spacing here, which we do not want. It's a little bit spaced out for my liking, so I'm just gonna bring it down. You know, it's fun to mess with character spacing, and I'm even gonna go negative because I want it to kind of, I want the letters just to be a little bit kerned together just slightly. Okay, so we got this fun white tank, and then underneath what we should do is drop down the size to something like, I don't know, 16. And if you ever want to create contrast in your typography, what you really need to do is to use weight and or color and size to do so. So we've done size. Let's do weight. We're going to go from semi-bold to medium all the way down to regular. I don't know why regular's at the top. And then we might even use color a little bit. We're just going to drop the opacity of it down. Let's center align this thing. And I'm going to align the whole thing in the center. I'm actually going to turn it into a text box, a sized text box. And then I'm going to write something like casual, relaxed, fit for all, I don't know, for all wearing circumstances, for all fashions. That's much better. Fashion circumstances. That, yeah, get your white tank today. Okay, so the line height or the like is just insane on this, so we got to fix that really quickly. Let's just go in here. It's at 64. Let's just drop it down to something like 24. Okay, cool. So now we have just like a little bit of text here, and then let's do something really fast. Let's do a rating, right? And then what's great about text boxes is you can just double click on the bottom. Whoop, it's just gonna kind of like contract it all the way up and just hug it nicely, right? Let's do this look has a 5.0. We'll do a text area, bring the opacity of it up, and let's fill it with a yellow because we're going to do a little bit of rating. We did a rating yesterday, didn't we? And how we did it was grabbed our polygon tool, whoop, drug out our polygon tool, and we zoomed in here and we said 5 points here, and then bring the sides in to make a little bit of a star. Take the border off, grab that same color, really vibrant, really nice, and we did it really easily. First, we're just going to bring the size of that thing down. Don't need it to be, oh, watch out now. Brought the size of it down, and then we just hit Command R for repeat grid. Let's give this thing a 5-star and just subtract the spacing in between. Beautiful. Okay, that looks really good. And the last thing we got to do is just kind of frame the whole thing. So I'm going to hit R for rectangle and draw a little something around it. Beautiful around the corners a little bit, and again you can use white and then just bring the opacity down, and that kind of frames it really nicely. Okay, now we'll do this and just give it a little bit more space. Beautiful, it's looking nice, and maybe, yeah, I think that works. Okay, so we'll grab the whole thing. Let's grab our stars and our rating, group it together, and make sure it's lined up nicely inside. It was almost perfectly spaced. That was just done with my eyeballs. You got to be kidding me here today, folks. It's Friday, and I am just laying things out with perfection. I wouldn't say perfection, but I did all right. Okay, so now we have all the elements, right? Last thing I'd probably say is you need some way to add this. So I'm just going to do a nice big E for ellipse, a nice stark white circle. Okay, and then I believe we have, you know, our model is just not fitting. We're getting a little bit of overlap. So I'm just going to bring up the size of our image. We can do that, right? Because the whole thing is just framed. I'm going to grab my plus. I'm going to bring the plus down. And it's like, hey, you just want to add this to your lookbook, right? This whole thing is really big. So I'm just going to bring it down a little bit like that. And then this can bring down just a little bit. I love it. Okay. Group it together. Now we have our button. And then let's grab all of our text here and we're just going to name it. Ready? In our layers panel up here, we have, let's see, we have not test, but text. Beautiful. And then zoom out so we can see. We have our, let's call this a column, shall we? And then, well, what do we have here? We have our button. Okay, beautiful. We have all the elements we need. Let's get rid of these other two for now because we're going to build one component that has multiple states in it, and it's going to have a fun kind of like little interaction. Okay. So what we want to do is, I think, yeah, we want to take our text and we want to make sure our text is beneath our column. Our button is there. Let's just group this whole thing together and call this our card. And we're gonna have to make it a component. Okay, so we're gonna make it a component, Command K for our card, and it is in the default state. Okay, so we have default state. Let's do a new state. We're not gonna do toggle, just gonna do a new state. And we're gonna call this one closed. So you have default is open, and then you have the closed state. Well, what's closed gonna look like? I think closed is going to take our button, twist it, twist it, size it down. Take that and that. Whoa, we're getting weird stuff here. I don't know why our plus doesn't want to size down. Okay, we'll size it down. We're gonna twist the whole thing, and then we're gonna bring the opacity down, and then we're probably gonna drop it down just a little bit. Okay, now our text needs to come up and hide underneath our card. Beautiful, just like that. Okay, so now you have the closed state, our component state here, and then you can see we have our default, which is open. Okay, now it'll be fun to auto animate in between the two. We can do that, right? And we're gonna do that really through kind of like an artboard exchange here. So what we're gonna do is let's drag this out, and let's go ahead and grab our mask and find our model. Good. Now we have to do that on both states. Do you see? So we have to make sure that we do that for both states. And on our closed state, we want to grab we have open state. That looks pretty good. It's pretty close. On open, I think the fun thing we should do for all of our open states is actually just like increase the size. Beautiful. Something like that. And we'll do the same thing for this one. We're going to grab our image here. We could have done this with a much smaller image, which would have made it a little bit easier to work with, but that's okay. Let's do uno más, maybe two más, dos más. Okay. Let's use this one. Whoa, no, watch it now. We're doing a new version of this, a new instance. Come on, let's go work with me here. We don't want the column. Let's try this one more time. We are messing up royally. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to grab that. There we go. Let's move it over to this is kind of a cool vibe right here. Beautiful. And again, we're going to have to go to our closed state. You just got to make sure you're grabbing the image, and then you can start like actually messing with it, you know, and get the desired like effect. Beautiful. Okay, so now we have open and closed states for each of these. Again, I would say that our closed state for our guy here with the headphones, which is really, really cool, needs to be just a little bit bigger. Beautiful. Okay, let's do closed state for that and that. Let's move our artboard over into the middle, and then what we're gonna do is pop this there and pop this there. Let's grab all of these, and we're gonna use our distribution tools. Make sure the whole thing is kind of lined up in the middle. Now what we can do is we can play with this animation a little bit. Maybe we want these to be down just a little bit like that, and make it feel like it's kind of like carouseling up and towards you. That could be kind of cool. And we're gonna have the different states. Okay, so let's get rid of this. I don't think we need this. Let's bring it back over and keep working. So what do I mean by different states? Well, first off, I'm gonna grab all three of these. I'm gonna group them together. I'm gonna call it cards. That's perfect. I love that. And you have, this is really number 2. This is really artboard number 2, isn't it? Yeah, because artboard number 1, if you stay with me here and just get a little space to work, artboard number 1 is if we take our first one, our second one's gonna bump up, our first one's gonna bump up, second one's gonna bump down, and our first card is gonna open up that default state. Good. And then the entire thing is going to slide over like so. So we're going to get this fun little kind of slide. So that's 1. So let's mark that as 1. Beautiful. And then let's mark this one as 3. So you got 1, 2, 3. I know my naming convention is super innovative. Not really. Okay. So we're just going to make sure that this is the closed state. This is the open state. We're going to bring this up into place and this down, and you guessed it, we're going to bump it over like that. It's about in the middle. That looks pretty good. I like that. Okay, now let's do a little bit of our prototyping, shall we? I'm going to head over to the prototype tab, and I'm going to grab this whole thing. So I want to be able to swipe, okay? I just want to be able to swipe. So on swipe, right, we will on drag, we will auto animate over to number 2, easing. Let's try none. Okay, let's try none. And then we'll do the same thing here. Okay, now we're going to run into a little bit of an issue because we can't do 2 drag gestures on the same thing. Okay, we're going to drag it over, same thing. Okay, let's grab this and we'll hit our little home to turn on our flow tag, and we'll just say, we'll call this our swipe gesture. Let's press play and let's see what it looks like. I should be able to swipe over. Fun. We get a nice fun little swipe. Now let's go back and add a little bit of easing on this bad boy, because I feel like that would make it nice. Wouldn't it make it nice? Let's go from, let's do a little snap. I think snap could work nicely. It's going at like 0.3 easing of 0.3. Now you don't get any sort of timing because you're doing a drag gesture, right? Now let's see, can we drag it back? I'm going to drag back. Aha, I can do drag back, auto animate snap. And let's do another one. Whoop. Now that's the one where we really get a little bit of an issue, right? And what we can do is we can kind of fake the funk on that one and call it a tap, auto animate back with snap. Beautiful. Let's try this whole thing again. Now we should be able to drag over. Oh, very nice. So drag over again, drag over. Beautiful. Okay, and you can see, like, you know, when you're kind of controlling the drag, it's taking control of these two things, right? Versus when you just have a tap trigger, it shoots over a little bit nicer, right? So, you know, you decide how you want to prototype this thing, but we have a little bit of time left. Let's see if we can do this super duper crazy idea of selecting a look and then having it drop down to the bottom here. I'm imagining it become like this cool little chiclet or tile that we might be able to always go back and explore. So what am I going to do for that? Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go back to my design tab. I'm going to grab this card. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. Here's our card, right, that we copied and pasted. I'm going to ungroup the component, Command-Shift-G to ungroup, okay? I'm going to get rid of all of the elements that have to do with it, okay? We're not going to worry about that. I'm just going to shrink up this whole thing. Let's bring it down here. I'm gonna think about a little user experience here. If I had like maybe 2 or 3 looks that I liked, I'd want to see them stack up here and maybe be able to horizontally swipe through the whole thing. That could be kind of interesting. So I've never done an interface like this. It's gonna be fun. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So I'm going to grab this and bring it down, and then I'm gonna grab my entire image, massive image that we're working with. I'm gonna shrink it so that we just see, ooh, we might even need a little bit less. Can we bring it down even more like that? We can. And we're gonna take our rectangle and we're gonna take the rounded border radius off of it, okay? And so you can imagine, like, once you select something, it pops up down there, and you can always go back and tap it again to see more information about it. Let's see if we can make this work, okay? Now what we're gonna need to do is I'm gonna duplicate here. I'm going to duplicate this template. This is 2-1. That's exactly what we want. 2-1. Okay, cool. And we're going to place our, we'll call this selection over here. We're going to bring it right there. Okay. Copy. Make sure we copy that and paste. What are we going to do with this bad boy? We're going to bring it up and let's put it at the top right there and bring the opacity of it down. Now, what we might want to do is, we might have wanted to do this the other way around and actually have the entire thing first, but let's see if we could do it. Let's see if we can go back and fix our error. I'm going to just resize this to be about the size of the card. This might be really cool, and this will be the last thing we'll have time for the day. Okay, cool. Actually, I know what we're doing. Let's get rid of that. I know what we need to do. Go back. Rewind. I messed up. Copy. Paste. Beautiful. Command-Shift-G. Ungroup it from the group. Or ungroup it from the whole thing. Alright, it's no longer a component. It's just our column. Get rid of that as well. We're going to rename this selection. Right? Okay. And we're going to pop it right there. It's going to be invisible though. Oh, we're doing a little invisible hack today. Oh, I'm gonna have so much fun right now. All right, now we're going to bring it back up. The visibility of it is back up, right? We're going to shrink the whole thing. Can we shrink the whole thing? Yes, we're going to shrink the whole thing down like so. Whoop, let's zoom in and let's mess with the size of it now. Okay, first off, again, 0 for our border radius. Size here, shrink it down to be a little bit more of a long rectangle like so. Image, bring it down so we could just see her smiley happy face. Okay, we've made our selection and it stacks down there. Okay, cool. Now what we have to do is go back to prototype. We're gonna come into our, oh, can we find it? Can we find it? Okay, let's see. That's our selection. We need to say, which card is it? Is it this card? Is it this card? It's that card right there. Button. On tap of the button. Let's see if this works. Grab it and drag it down right here. And we should get on tap auto animate. Let's make it a little bit longer so we can see. Let's do 1 whole second. We're not going to keep it there, I promise you. But let's do a little bit of a wind up. Okay, so we should see a little whoa, kind of wind up easing action going on there. Okay, now let's try. Let's press play from here. Again, we should be able to drag. If I select, no, I got to take that tap trigger off of this one. Okay, let's get rid of this tap trigger really quickly. And actually, we'll just change it to keys and gamepad so we can manipulate it with a left arrow. Did you know you can do keys and gamepad? Because you can, and it's really, really fun. Okay, let's press play real quickly. So we can always keys and gamepad back. We can always drag this way, but when we tap, oh, why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? Let's see. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Oh, hold on. We gotta, because we have to tap specifically the plus. There it is. Let's try it again. Let's go back. Press play one more time. Again, left there, drag, and select. It just took so long because we set it at 1 whole second. So let's do this more like 0.5 seconds for our wind up. Try it one more time and click it. Whoop. And now it's there, and you can imagine these could kind of stack up and you could scroll through them. Ah, it's super duper fun. I like it. Okay, cool. Hey, well, that is our challenge for the day. Can't wait for you to create your own summertime vibe lookbook, dragging back, adding it to our selections. Super fun. Thanks for joining me on that little challenge today. Hey, let's take some time and look at some of your challenges, because we did have a couple of submissions from this set of challenges and previous challenges. This is from Misayu Shaya. I probably said that wrong, but here is a little bit of an interactive map application. You created a route, probably some horizontal and vertical scroll groups in there, but I love it. On tap of something, just bringing up that card. I would say a little bit more contrast so we can see things a little bit more clearly. So you got to be very careful with dark interfaces, but this is a really, really good take on it. And I love that you actually themed the whole thing together with kind of that dark map. So this actually looks like a dark mode, which is like really good job, really, really immersive. So I love this submission. This is another one by the same student, right? And just doing like some like fun interface design. Again, you got to watch out for contrast. Contrast is key. So careful when we can see through cards. This looks a little bit like maybe a notification screen or something like that you expose. Really, really cool. Just be careful of that color and that contrast, but really, really nice. This one is by Mariko. This is the interactive timer. And I like that you did different gauges and dials. Use a little bit of that pie chart action going on there. Like that a lot. Some nice simple radio buttons. Really, if I was going to recommend anything for this one, there's a little bit of space on your elements around the canvas. Use the rulers inside of Adobe XD. Kind of set the parameters so you have nice space and give yourself a little breathing room. That's why Apple is so successful with their design. They've given it a little bit of breathing room. Be a little bit Apple here, and you might see a little bit of a change. I like that a lot. I think this one is from some previous challenges. This is from Lucky. Let's see. Let's just highlight and see this. I don't know what this challenge was, but I'll tell you, I like the layout. We got some nice transitions between the different like navigations here. This looks like a website for like a back to school shopping. What's up, back to school shopping? Popular topic. I like it a lot. Let me see. Wade A Cuff said the rating is a 5, but the app is a 10. Oh, that's what's up. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's really, when you find good resources off something like Adobe Stock, use a good program like Adobe XD, and you just have some fun with it. So that's what I encourage all of you to do this week, is just to have a little bit of fun. I hope you had fun during this week of challenges, summer themed challenges to upgrade your skills inside of Adobe XD. Make sure you're part of that Discord server, jump in that community, get feedback on your projects, keep designing, and make sure that you're having fun and resting. We'll see you next time. I've been your host, Jesse Showalter. Have a phenomenal weekend. Take care.